All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So it's actually really early in the morning, but last night, Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network reported that the Las Vegas Raiders granted permission for Derek Carr to visit New Orleans and the Saints. Okay, so if we rewind a couple days ago to Adam Schefter's tweet, where he basically reported that the Raiders are allowing Derek Carr to speak to other teams, but under the condition that the other team has to offer some sort of trade package, which would then be accepted by the Raiders. And, the example that he throughout was the Deshaun Watson situation, where Watson had a couple of different teams right down to the wire. Cleveland obviously being one of them, Carolina and the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Saints were involved for a period of time, but not the entire duration. But it was really between those three teams. In other words, those three teams had offers on the table, and then it was just pretty much, Watson, you can pick where you go, and we will accept that offer. So apparently, according to Adam Schefter, that is what's happening here. And the Saints, according to Ian Rappaport, are the first team on the list. And by the way, Ian Rappaport did say that no trade is imminent. It's not like a situation where Carr's going to get on a flight, hit New Orleans, sign a deal, and then it's like, great, the Saints have their new quarterback. It's looking like Derek Carr is just doing his due diligence. Right, obviously the Saints desperately need a quarterback. They're a win-now team. This is a squad that's being coached by Dennis Allen, Derek Carr's former head coach when he came in as a rookie. So there's a bunch of different connections that we can, tie together. But again, according to Rappaport, it doesn't sound like a trade is coming, within the next couple hours here. But at the same time, the way Rappaport kind of worded it, it almost sounds like the Saints are stop number one, right? They're destination number one, and slowly over these next couple of days, next couple of weeks, a decision will be made. Now, of course, that deadline is February 15th. The Raiders have got to make a decision. So next Wednesday, and it's quickly approaching here, but the first question I have to ask, are the Jets on this list? Are the Jets on this list here? I would love it if news breaks that Derek Carr is leaving New Orleans and is going to Florham Park to go check out One Jets Drive, right? Go check out the facility, go meet with the coaches, all that good stuff. I would absolutely love that. But right now it's kind of up in the air. I mean, we look at the teams out there that need quarterbacks: Jets, Commanders, Saints, Panthers, who else? Buccaneers, maybe the Titans, maybe the Falcons, and the Raiders, but obviously the Raiders aren't going to be doing that. And then Houston, the Colts, they need quarterbacks, but they're not really in the mix because they're so high in the draft. They'll probably go with rookies. So it's a lot of teams. I know Rich Cimini had an opinion the other day. He doesn't get the sense that Derek Carr is the Jets guy. But man, if it was me and I'm Joe Douglas, I'm taking a long, long look at Derek Carr. I am trying to bring him to my facility and trying to negotiate, right? Whether it's a trade just to be sure, just to beat out those other 5-6 teams, even if you have to give up a middle round pick here, I think it's worth it. And of course you can make the argument, hey, why would you trade for a guy who's going to be released? That totally makes sense. It's a valid point. My stance though is the Jets don't have any wiggle room, right? If the three options are Jimmy Garoppolo, Aaron Rodgers, and Derek Carr, I don't want to sit here and say, okay, yeah, Derek Carr's good, but we're going to go with Rodgers. But Rodgers is not an unrestricted free agent. He doesn't know if he's going to retire. He could want to go play for the Packers, next season. That's not guaranteed. And then we look at Jimmy G, okay, solid option there. But what about the other teams that we just mentioned? Washington and, maybe Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee's new GM is coming from San Francisco. So, if they cut bait with Ryan Tannehill, which has been rumored, not for sure, but it has been rumored, is Garoppolo in play in Tennessee? You would have to think, okay, he's maybe towards the top of the list. So all I'm saying is this: Derek Carr's not a perfect quarterback, but I would absolutely love it if he was the Jets quarterback. And I really want the team, the organization, to show some aggression here in trying to bring him in. If they want to throw their hands up and say, you know, Carr's good, but we're not all that interested, then, you know, that's fine. But at the end of the day, they're making their bed and they're going to have to land it. So I love Carr. I love Rodgers. I love Garoppolo. If the Jets land any three of those guys, I would be pumped. I would be totally happy. But Carr's the one. Carr and Jimmy are the two guys that the Jets have more control over the situation, depending on contract offers and, or I guess, and or a possible trade situation with the Raiders. You know, the situation with Green Bay, the Jets can offer whatever they want to the Packers. If Rodgers does not want to go to the Jets, he could threaten retirement and say, "No, I'm not going. I'm going to retire. Sorry." So that's the only holdup for me, right? That's the one concern with A-Rod. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you make of this news? You know, what's next? I think really that's the big question here. I'm going to be pretty anxious over these next couple of hours until, or maybe a couple of days until we get like some word about Derek Carr moving forward. But the fact remains that the New Orleans Saints are heavily interested in Derek. And I would actually, you know, taking my Jet hat off for a second, if Carr ends up with the Saints, it would be a beautiful, beautiful acquisition. I know they have some work. I feel like they always have to work on the cap situation, move stuff around, restructure deals, part ways with guys, let guys go. You know, we saw that last year with Armstead at tackle and Marcus Williams at safety. But I mean, Carr on the Saints, that's a really, really good pairing. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, and as always, go Jets.